Hey y'all, welcome to the Finding Joy podcast. And I'm super excited for you today. For those of you that are entrepreneurs and you're working on growing your business, you're working on shaping your business and molding it into something that brings you joy. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Erica Wood, and she is a client retention expert. And we're going to be having a conversation about how to keep and hold on to your clients. Erica, welcome to the show.
Hi, Billy. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
I think that people are going to get a lot out of this conversation. Actually, I'm very excited about this conversation because this is an area that I may have some very basic understanding, but I've never sort of dove deep into this subject.
Yeah.
And I just signed a new client yesterday, which was for my Fortune 500 consulting business. And I'm
hmm
like, holy cow. Like I've got this great interview coming up with with Erica, and I'm like, all right, I want to make sure that I have all the ammunition that I can possibly have so that because it was a lot of work to get this client, right? And
Yeah.
so now being on the sales side and being like, oh my gosh, like this, it's a lot of work to get a customer. Now I want to make sure I hold on to them
Ab-
forever.
Absolutely. And a lot of people think about the sales side of things and the marketing side of things, but they don't think about retention and
hmm
how that can be your biggest growth strategy of holding on to the clients that you have and growing with that client. So I'm excited to dive in and talk about this today.
No, that's awesome. Well, could you just like maybe, so I've gotten to know you, but I think our guests would like to get to know you a little bit about who you are and how, how long you've been doing this stuff.
So, well, I've been in the client relations or customer service facing side of most of the businesses that I've worked in throughout my career. I did start my career in pediatric healthcare, and most people are like, how does that relate to client relations? But I worked specifically with patients and families, making sure that they were having a good experience while they were in the hospital. So that translates over
Oh
to
yeah.
making sure they're the client of the hospital, right? They're the customer of the
Yes.
hospital. Even though they're called patients, they're really the customer. So that translated into the client relation side of things. And I spent almost 20 years in pediatric healthcare before a layoff, after a restructure. You know how hospitals can be sometimes.
Yeah. Every big company I've worked with, but yes.
Any kind of corporate company, you go through that kind of thing. But I made a shift into the virtual assistant staffing industry and was basically a client relations manager when I first started out. Um, uh, Doing account management, making sure that the client was happy, making sure that the client and the virtual assistant were working well together, all that kinds of fun stuff. And then a couple of years ago, I was recruited by a different virtual assistant staffing company to come help them build the company from the ground up. So I sat kind of in a director level role, but I focused on the client relations side of the business, building out the client journey, building out the client relations team, building out the virtual assistant staffing side of things, how to recruit virtual assistants, how to train virtual assistants, building out the virtual assistant management team. So that's what I've done pretty much the last couple of years. And then in April, found myself again faced a layoff, and I was like, you know what? This is my time. It's my time to take the years of healthcare experience, client relations experience, leadership experience, and roll that into my own business, which I have just founded this year, and it's called Client Journey Advisors. So I help CEOs and client experience leaders of growing service based businesses transform from reactive service delivery into intentional, scalable client journeys that build trust and reduce churn. Um, so, yeah, that's just a little bit about me and my background and where I came from.
Awesome. That's really good. So where do you start with someone that's
hmm
like just like me?
hmm
I I just got a customer. I have customers, and
hmm
I need to start understanding this framework from going from like this reactive mode to a proactive mode.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a three-phase model that I've built out. One is coming in and doing an audit. So kind of looking at what your customer experience looks like now.
Okay.
So just high level, share with me like when you first start interacting with the client, even before they sign a contract, what does that follow up look like? What are those conversations? What kind of information are you providing that client to kind of reel them in, right? Your sales process, your marketing process. What does all of that look like? And what are the expectations that you're setting for your clients?
Okay. That sounds good. So you start with an audit, and then once you have that information, what's next?
So once I've done an audit and we go through the entire life cycle, right? From when they first start interacting with that client, even in the marketing and the sales phase, to the client signs the contract, what happens after the client signs the contract, um, to looking at the life of the client. Okay. What does that look like in their business? Is it a
Mm.
6 month contract? Is it a 12-month contract? Do they have intentional touch points set at different milestones? Have they even mapped out milestones of what that might look like for their clients? So, for example, with the client that you just signed, what happens with that client as soon as they sign the contract? What's your next step?
So in this case, so we just signed the master services agreement, and the next step is a statement of work, right?
Okay.
So the statement of work would probably be that's the actual actionable item.
Hmm.
But for this statement of work, we just go into action. So there's nothing that really happens other than we start servicing the client.
Okay. And what does that look like from your side? Servicing, when you say servicing the client, what does that look like?
Right. So we literally will get on the either show up on site or get on phone calls with them to begin laying
Hmm.
out a project plan, laying out the deliverables, helping them to understand, what they can expect from us, what we need to expect from them, and begin delivering whatever we said we were going to do on the statement of work.
Okay. Awesome. And is the statement of work like almost like a welcome email packet or something that goes out to them to kind of clearly lay out expectations of like, this is what comes next?
Yeah. So, for example, in this statement of work that we're working on right now, there's like an executive summary that says
Hmm.
this is the project we're about to embark on, and
Hmm.
then this one has 4 milestones, and at each milestone we have clearly marked out deliverables. And
Okay.
so, and this one does not happen to be time bound, although there are some that are time bound, and there are
Hmm.
some that are like time and expense based, and some of them that are milestone based. This one happens to be milestone based. So whether we do it in 1 week or 1 month or 6 months, it's outcome based. So,
Yes.
and us getting paid is also outcome based,
Mhm.
right? And so until it doesn't matter if we work 5 hours or 500, we're going to get the same amount of money for the deliverable that we bring in.
Mhm. Okay. So it sounds like you have a very well thought out onboarding. That's what I'd call the onboarding phase for a client,
Okay.
right? So the next phase, depending on what your business is, then you might have another defined stage, whether that's after you've done an audit or something like that, you're delivering some results of whatever that audit might be. So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of mirrors what I would do. I would come in, I would ask you some of these basic questions, right? That's why I
Yeah.
was kind of giving an example of some of the questions I might ask if I'm coming in to do an audit. Once we've done the audit, then basically we chart the course. We map out what your next stage is going to be and make sure that it's a great strategy that will help retain your clients.
Mm.
And then if you do have a team, I have a part of my offer is to come in and train the team and
Mm.
guide the crew and make sure that the team understands how to what's the word I'm looking for? Implement the
Mm-hmm.
strategy that we just built out for the client. And
Gotcha.
go from being reactive to proactive. It helps them become empowered and know that they're taking care of the clients the way that the company is wanting them to take care of their clients, and giving them that high touch, that white glove service that that particular company is known for. Does that make sense?
It does, but it really has me thinking about some of my personal experiences. Not too long ago, I signed up. I've become a huge fan of coaching
Mm-hmm.
because I've realized that the greatest tax that I've ever paid in my life is ignorance tax.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm done paying ignorance tax, and now I'm paying for coaching because there are things that I want to achieve, and I need accelerators for achieving those things. And coaching for me is the best way to do that. But I'm even
Mm-hmm.
thinking about when I signed up, there was like this form that like they got basic information. At least I was thinking it was just basic information, but they got like name, email, phone, address. I think maybe they got birth date. What do you like? Do you have any food allergies, that type of thing? But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and I didn't really think about it. But like 5 days after I signed up, we had books that just showed up in the mail, right?
Yeah.
So my coach sent me some books, right?
Wow.
I think we ended up going on site for a master class, and like
Mhm,
they knew that my wife was vegetarian, but like I
mhm,
mean, it was a very thought out
mhm.
process, and I'm like, oh, holy cow, and even as I'm talking, I'm like, why am I not doing this?
Well, and it's the little things, right? It's the little things when, for example, one of the things that we used to do when I worked at my first virtual staffing company is we would gather all that information in like a discovery form type thing of like birthdays, anniversaries, their favorite candy, favorite restaurant, all that kind of stuff. And then just would randomly send gifts. It didn't
That's
necessarily,
awesome.
birthdays and anniversaries, we would recognize those, right? But we would also just randomly send gifts of like, thank you for being like our favorite client, or thank you for, um, being really extra good, really extra special to your virtual assistant. We heard that you did XYZ for them. We really appreciate you taking care of them. So just those little things, really, they do make a difference, and they make people feel important, right? Like, I'm sure,
Yeah.
wow, this is really awesome. I feel so important and feel like, I'm taken care of. And that's really all people want is,
Yeah.
they want to feel like they're taken care of. And if you establish that trust very early on in the, what I like to say, partnership. Like, I want to
Mm-hmm.
develop partnerships with all of my clients. Even when I worked for other companies, I wanted to develop a partnership and make sure that that client felt taken care of. Um, if you build that trust early and often, they will stay with you even if bumps happen in the journey, right? Even if roadblocks come up. A couple of examples were working it with virtual assistants. Our product was people, right?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
are very um, they're unpredictable. You never know how
Yeah.
someone's going to show up. They can interview amazingly with me, and then they don't show up for the client, right? So that would happen
Right.
once in a while. And I had one particular client who, his first virtual assistant, she was okay. They got along okay, but she did a couple of things and he was like, this is just not working well. And I'm like, all right, let us go back to the drawing board. He trusted us to go back to the drawing board. And he and I communicated the whole time. I felt like I built a really great partnership with him. Second virtual assistant didn't even show up. to the go live call.
Oh,
We took all this time to interview her, train her. She had to go through
yes.
like 6 or 7 hours of training before she even met with the client. She didn't show up for the go live call. I felt terrible. I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
His name was Tim. I was like, Tim, I'm totally failing you. And he looks at me and he goes, no, you're not. This is trial and error.
Yeah.
If I were on my own trying to find a virtual assistant, I would be doing this all by myself. And I have you.
Mm-hmm.
I trust you. And he trusted me because of the partnership we had built before we even got to the point where a virtual assistant started with him, which was within a 3 to 4 week period. We tried to place the virtual assistants that quickly. So getting in there and just asking the right questions, showing that you care from the very
Mm.
beginning, that is a huge win for clients. And they'll stick
Okay.
around even if the bumps happen later on.
Wow. So I want to key off of like two concepts that I heard, and if I wasn't trying so hard to think of, as I'm doing the podcast, I would be literally taking notes. But I know this is recorded, so I can grab the transcripts and go back. So I'm good. But two things you brought up that I think are core tenets, but I want to ask you about them. I heard you mention trust, and then you at least inferred empathy as being like something that customers really look for. Are
Mhm.
there other things? Are those? Is that it? Like, are there other things that are like core to? And I'm thinking for every business, every business, the customers want to trust you. Every business, the customers want you to understand their pain points. But are
Mhm.
there other things besides like trust and empathy that we should be thinking about when we're trying to establish these relationships that are rock solid, that will endure trials like the VA doesn't show up?
Right? Um, those are definitely two of the foundations, right? Like
Hmm.
trust, that's the biggest one.
Okay.
If they trust you, they're not going to stick around. And empathy for sure. I mean, everybody wants to feel heard. Everybody wants to feel listened to. I mean, think about the scenario of the angry client that calls up and is just like, "Rah," right? They're just yelling and screaming.
Yes.
They
Yes.
just want to be heard. And so just letting them get that out, right? So proactive
Yeah.
listening for if you're on the
Mm.
facing side, proactive listening is definitely a major key to that, right? Also, critical thinking skills. You've got to have someone in that seat
Mm.
that has the critical thinking skills that can pivot when they need to. Um,
Okay.
but other things I think that customers are looking for, definitely the results, right? But
Yes. So,
if you
yeah.
build the trust, then the results they will work with you together. That's why I say it's a partnership. They will work with you
Okay.
to get the results that they're wanting, right?
Yes.
Um, also have to buy in from the very beginning. That's why it's so important on the sales and marketing side that they're sending the right message before the client even steps through the door. Because
Mm.
if they're not sending the right message, when that client steps through the door, what I have learned is that's where the trust breaks down, is because they were trusting sales and marketing to give them the product that they needed, but when they
Yeah.
step through the door and it's not, it's really hard to come back from that, and it's really hard. It can be done, I've done it, but it takes a lot to really get that client turned around and to trust that they're going to be successful with your product.
Yeah. That reminds me of like YouTube clickbait, right? Like you get this thumbnail and title, and it says, hey, click me, and I'm gonna do this. But then you get into the video, it's like, no, that's not. That's
Oh,
funny. Yeah. Yeah. Customers don't like that very much, do they?
no, definitely
Right.
not. Definitely
Well,
not.
and
I remember when I first started with my last company, um, now I came in to help them build the business from the ground up, and they had a parent company that was doing all the marketing and sales. And they were way over promising. And when I came in, I was like, guys, you've got to stop this. they were promising that the virtual assistants were completely trained and that it was going to be plug and play. Well, I don't know any job you've ever been in, Billy, but from day one, it's not plug and play. It
No,
doesn't
not for
work,
anything.
right? So
Yeah,
you
no.
you have to set those expectations right from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's funny. I was at this corporation yesterday. That's my new client, and they're using, and I've been in like Fortune 500 consulting for 30 years,
Mhm.
but like I get in there and they're using acronyms. I have no clue. I'm like literally making a list and like, okay, I'm like, all right, after an hour long meeting, I'm like, okay, great. Now I'm just going to ask you, what does this mean and this mean and this mean? Because I think I've inferred what I think those things are, but I got to ask you, like, they're, the MTD and the FFC and the like, okay, what are
And
we
some
talking about here?
Yeah, and some companies use different acronyms even in the same industry. I mean, that happened when I
Mm,
went from one virtual staffing agency to another one. Like
mm-hmm.
when I first started in my new role, I had no idea what MRR was. They kept throwing out this MRR, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. What does that mean? I learned
I
very
bet you
quickly.
did. I bet you
Yeah.
did. So I'm super interested. So as you get brand new clients to come into your coaching and consulting
Hmm.
group, what do you do? What do you do for them as
What
they
do I
become
do?
a yeah, how do you go through your onboarding with your new consulting and coaching clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's still development in process, to be
Okay.
completely transparent and honest, because it is, obviously this is very new to me.
Yes.
I pull a lot from my previous experience, right, and my
Yeah.
background and what I know worked with clients and what didn't work. And one of the things that I really like to do is just to sit down and have a conversation, just like this, kind of like a discovery
Yes.
call. Have a conversation around what their goals are, kind of what their business model and what they already have set for their clients and how their clients
Mm-hmm.
flow through the business. Um, and then start asking questions around what's working, what's not working, because there's always going to
Mm-hmm.
be not working, right? Um, and then how do they want their clients to feel as they're going through their journey? How do they want to feel as they're working with me so that
Yes.
I understand where they're coming from, what their expectations are,
Mm-hmm.
so that one, I can make sure that our expectations align and that we
Yes.
have the expectations of what the end product is going to be. And then also, make sure maybe there's expectations that the client has that don't align with what I do so that I can kind of
Mm-hmm.
reset those expectations, right? But
Yes.
it starts with just a conversation. Like, I feel like the greatest partnerships really start with getting to know each other and,
Okay.
having a little bit of conversation of like, sitting down and tell me a little bit about your family. Would
Mm-hmm.
love to hear. How did you found your company? Why did you found your company? And just getting to know that person a little bit, and then kind of diving into more of like the business side of things. I feel like creating that little bit of space to get to know the person is what really starts the foundation of building a great partnership.
No, that's awesome. So one of the things in our pre conversation, you really got me thinking about my onboarding process. Like
Mhm.
literally a framework of when somebody says yes, here's my credit card or here's my check or whatever, what happens next that you have and you have some great ideas like having
Mhm.
an onboarding form. I
Yep.
love that, right?
Yep.
Get some of the information up front, like name, address, phone number. Like, what if you like, so we could, because
Yeah.
like when I joined a coaching class, like they sent me something. I'm like, hey, when
Mhm.
somebody joins my coaching group, I want to send them something because it was
Mhm.
just fun to have like that unexpected gift show up in the mail. And
Yeah,
like
it
most, and true confession, most things that end up in my mailbox, I don't cuss, but I want to when I see junk mail.
right?
It's like, but like when a fun little present like comes to the door, it's like, what is this, right? Like
Yeah.
it makes you feel seen. It makes you feel like you're part of something.
Mhm.
And so I'm literally writing down these things
Mhm.
because, and I love your entrepreneurial spirit, and you're not afraid to say, I'm figuring this out too along my way, right? Like that's us, right? And
Yeah.
it's in doing and in having the conversations that we get the clarity
Mhm.
around exactly what we're going to do, right? And so,
Yep.
but I'm literally thinking about this framework of onboarding that
Mhm.
we're going to start doing for my Work Smarter, Not Harder challenge. It's like as
Yeah.
you become part of that class, as soon as you sign up, you're going to, and I'm like literally like on the fly. It's like, okay, I'm going to send you an onboarding form. I need to get your credit card information. So I got to make
Mhm.
sure, we're going to make sure that in that form we get all the stuff we talked about, but especially your address so we can send you something. I need your email address because I'm going to admit you to my school community
Mhm.
group.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, what else? What else? Right. But I'm going, just like you, I'm going back to my previous experiences. Okay, what do I need to put into my business to make sure that my customers feel special and they feel
Yeah.
seen and are excited about what they just spent to entrust their money to me with?
Mhm. And one of the things I just recorded this morning, I've been practicing and recording it all week. I'm speaking at a virtual summit in December.
Mm.
And I've developed a signature talk, and it talks about my framework.
Okay.
I have three-phase framework that I call
Okay.
the Compass Clarity Method.
Okay.
I a whole nautical journey like theme, but the I discuss in there how like things to think about, and in your onboarding process, one of the things that I always recommend is an onboarding call. Do you have an onboarding call when you're coaching? Clients sign up and they
Mm-hmm.
sign that
Mm-hmm.
contract. Do you do an on any type of onboarding call?
Yeah. At this point, no. But I'm
Yeah,
thinking
you should.
I thinking I should. Yeah.
Yeah, let me give you an example. So I'm going through a coaching program right now with a professional speaker who's teaching me how to be more professional and speak in a professional manner and like put myself out there. And she was watching my signature talk that I've developed, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you made me realize that I don't do an onboarding call." And she was like, "I just had this happen to me where I had a lady sign up with me. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't meet with her for like 3 weeks. And 3 days later, she emailed me and said, please refund my money. I've changed my mind. And she was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I didn't even know what to do. And I was like, exactly. That's why you need an onboarding call, because buyer's
Yeah.
remorse is real, especially people that are
Yes.
paying a good chunk of money. So an
Yes.
onboarding call within like 1 or 2 days of signing
Mm-hmm.
them contract. Or in your case, if you're doing a group, you could do a video, like a recorded
Yeah.
video that walks them through it, right?
That's
But
good.
having that onboarding call helps them feel like, okay, I made the right decision. This person is on it. They've already given me clear next steps, and I know what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
I don't feel like they took my money and now they're nowhere to be found. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, that's really good. And even as you're speaking, I'm like, that's exactly what happened to me. Like when I signed up for my coaching call, they're like, and it wasn't
Mhm.
with the coach, but there was an assistant that
Mhm.
I got on the phone with, and they were like, okay, yeah, welcome to the program, and let me tell you how this is going to work. Like we're going to send you this form for your credit card. These are the things we're going to send you a contract. Blah blah blah. But yeah,
Mhm.
and then it was basically, and here's your invite to the first coaching call.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, it's
And
good.
it doesn't have to be complicated, right? It doesn't have to be an hour
Mm-mm.
onboarding call,
Mm-mm. Yes.
15 minutes. But just that little interaction, again, it helps people feel like, okay, they've got me. Like I didn't just
Yes.
waste money. Like they
Yes.
intentionally have a process laid out for me to go through.
Yeah, no, it's good. And so the particular and this is so good because another conversation bring clarity. So when I did sign up for my coaching call, there was a part of that onboarding was just the expectations of, so there's kind of like the offer, but then if you're going to actually join, then there becomes like this expectation. So it's like if you join a country club, it's like,
Mhm.
yo, no tank tops at dinner, right? But that all comes out. And so but part of the call was, this particular, my coach is like, hey, and this was just a bonus for me, but he's like, hey, I'm Christian, I'm faith based. I'm going to be teaching from the Bible. If
Mhm.
that's not okay with you, we'll just give you your money back now. But if you say it's okay now, I don't want to hear about it later.
Right.
And
Exactly.
we won't refund you later because I'm telling you up front, like
Exactly.
part of what I'm bringing. So to set an expectation, like we don't want cussing and complaining in our inner circle. We don't want, so there was the expectation of the atmosphere and a little more in depth because now there's this like commitment and covenant
Yeah.
being made, and
Yeah.
in there's a level of expectation and intimacy. And so when you're like, oh, yes, 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 yes. For me, that was all very good stuff. And
Yeah.
it just made it actually reinforced my decision, not said, oh, any kind of buyer's remorse type of thing. So I'm like,
Exactly.
this is exactly what I need and want and happy to pay for.
Mhm. Yeah. And we went a step further at my last company. We actually had an expectations agreement that
Mm,
the client, we would give it to them. We would explain it on the very first onboarding call, or we called it a pre-go live call. But we would explain it on there and give them the link, and they had to actually read it, sign it, and acknowledge it, so that they couldn't, even though they had signed a contract, they couldn't come
mm.
back and say, "Well, you never told me this." And we were like, "Yes, we did. It's in the expectations agreement."
Oh, yes, yes.
Clients say, I thought the virtual assistant was, going to be completely trained, and I wouldn't have to train them on anything. So we created that extra step so that they have it right there in front of their faces, um, and have it in writing that they read it and acknowledged it and signed it,
Oh,
so
that's
that we
good.
could, it's also helping hold them accountable too, right? Because sometimes clients sign up for things that maybe is not really the right fit for them, which is another thing I can talk with business owners about, is making sure it's the right client, because not every
Yeah,
client's
okay.
the right
Oh,
fit,
that's good.
right?
That's good.
Um, but sometimes those types of people fall through the cracks, and you have to have those backup barriers or guards to kind of help protect your business.
That's good. So we talked a lot about sort of new customers onboarding. There's a
Mhm.
few more things I want to make sure that we get to our listeners. So one is mid journey, right? So touch points mid journey. Another one that I want to make sure we hit is the breakup. What if we have a breakup, right?
Mhm.
And then we'll get to joy jams and and so some of the joy robbers that are in your life. And so if I think we have time to hit all of that, but let's go mid journey first. So we're cooking along with the customer. What are some of the things that we should be doing to make sure that we're nurturing that relationship?
Mhm. So one of the things you really want to set out for your business is a touch point cadence strategy and schedule.
Mm,
Um, Depending on your business and what you're offering, um, kind of map out what are the milestones. What does that
okay.
look like for your client? Okay. Um, every business is different. In the virtual staffing industry, it was like 30, 60, 90. Right? 30 days, your virtual assistant should be getting the grassroots foundation of what your business is, what their tasks and role is. 60 days, they should be, even more integrated. They should be mastering tasks on their own, asking for
Mm-hmm.
more. And then 90 days, they should be fully integrated into your business, right?
Yeah.
And bringing even more value to you. So think about your own business and your own client journey, and what are those milestones? What do they look like? So map those out, and then
Mm.
once you've mapped out the milestones, then create an intentional touch point strategy. So, to kind of give
Okay.
you an example, at the last company I worked for, we started that intentional touch point from the day that they signed the contract. Now, sales had
Oh.
their own process. They did have a touch point process of, their pipeline and following up with leads and all that. But as soon as the client started, or as soon as the client signed the contract, our touch point cadence started, which
Mm.
meant an automated welcome email went out with a
Okay.
personalized video to that client of like, "Hey, client, introducing myself as your client manager. Here's next steps."
Mm.
The next step was the onboarding call, or what we called the pre-go live call. And then after that, we had 2 or 3 touch points before they even went live with their virtual assistant. And then when they went live with their virtual assistant, we had touch points that were laid out for the entire life that a client
Oh.
might stay with us. Okay,
Oh
so
wow. Yeah, that's good.
onboarding phase, it was very heavy, right? We were checking in every other week, right? We actually had scheduled meetings with the clients that we would schedule with them before we got off the current meeting that we were on, to make sure it got on the client's schedule.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and then that would taper off depending on where they were in the life cycle of being a client with us. After the 90 days, it usually was a quarterly check in where we were
Okay.
like on the client's calendar, getting on the virtual assistant's calendar, and calibrating, making sure that things were working well, how they were doing in their journey, how the relationship was doing. That way, we were showing up even before anything bad happened, right? We weren't just showing up
Mm-hmm.
when something went wrong. We were
Yes.
intentionally checking in with the client. So that mid journey, that's going to be a part of your touch points schedule and your cadence.
Gotcha.
Um, so does that answer your question?
It does. No, that's really good. And what I liked about that again, and it's just funny, is like with everything, it's the intentionality. It sounds
Right.
like it's like
Yes.
don't just think that it's going to happen on its own. And I'm thinking about like my consulting company
Hmm.
and how I think it's going to be really critical for me as the leader to sort of own that instead of the people that are actually doing the delivery, so that it gives the executives a chance to just say, hey, this is happening, love them, but if you could, I would appreciate if you talk to them about this,
Hmm.
or just or just raving review, or like yo, we're about to boot y'all, but like just having that open dialogue and an intentional cadence. I yeah, I'm like, okay, write that one
Yeah.
down too.
Also helps with like the real time feedback, right? Depending on what
Mm-hmm.
your product is and what you're trying to deliver for the client,
Yeah.
you may need to pivot. You may need to make an adjustment to the product or the service that you're providing. So if you're doing those intentional touch points, it gives you space to get real time feedback so that you can pivot and make those changes before the client just silently kind of, you know, walks away. Um, and the other thing you can build in too is like those NPS surveys, like those can be automated. I know we
Okay.
get
Now,
everybody gets a lot of email.
You just used an acronym that I don't know, so I'm gonna guess my that our audience doesn't know. So please.
Net Promoter Score
Okay,
survey.
okay,
So,
okay.
like, you go to like the doctor's office, or you go to like they use it in healthcare a lot. We
Oh,
also used it
cool.
in the staffing industry, but it's a on a scale of 1 to 10. Would you recommend our service to somebody? That's considered probably part of the net promoter score.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you
So,
for
and
clarifying that.
yeah, for sure. And those can be built out and automated that goes out from your CRM or whatever you might use, your
Mm-hmm.
client relations management system, um, and go out at 30, 60, 90 days. So you're getting some feedback from clients consistently.
Gotcha, gotcha. So let's move to this idea of we're having a breakup, right? So for whatever reason, either they don't need our services anymore, or things have not gone as as we had hoped, as well as we hoped, or we haven't met the expectation. Any tips or advice on how to make that? The least
Yeah.
amount of pain, or I'm not even sure how to ask that question, but like how
Yeah.
do we how do we position ourselves to maybe have a chance to come back?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it does happen all the time.
Okay.
Um, and whether it was, a mutual breakup, a non-mutual breakup, things happen. Um, I always suggested to my team, just sit and listen. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you want to listen to the client. And that old verbiage, the client is always right. It's not always the case.
Yeah.
You want to leave them with mutual respect, right?
Okay.
You
I like that.
leave them with a taste of it didn't work out well with this excuse me, this particular service,
Yes.
but maybe it just wasn't right for me, but it might be
Mm.
right for my friend, so let me refer my friend,
There you go.
right?
Okay.
Um,
I like that.
just treating that person with respect and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that not every client is going to be a fit for your service, and that's okay. And having a conversation with them if they will. I never wanted to force a client that said, "Hey, this is not
Yeah.
working."
Right.
To sit down and have an exit interview or an exit conversation. Even though my upper leadership was like, no, you've got to get them on a call. I'm like, some people just don't want to do that. I'm that type of
No.
person.
Yeah. 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 They're very
They're just,
conflict averse.
yeah, I'd rather
Yeah.
just be like, thanks and walk away. Um,
I gotcha.
but I always offered it and said, can we just have a conversation? I would love to know what we could have done better to
Mm-hmm.
meet your expectations and to make this experience, what we could have done to make this experience better for you. A lot of times people would take me up on that, and we just have a conversation about what worked, what didn't work, what
Mm.
pivots we could have made. And even sometimes I'd have clients say, you know what, this is all on me. Like, I'm the one that was the roadblock.
Mm.
I'm the one that can't delegate, or I'm the one that can't, which good for them that they can realize that they have things to we all have things we need to work on, right? We're none of us are perfect.
Yes.
Giving them that space to share their thoughts and their
Mm-hmm.
feedback, but not forcing it. And then just saying to them, I very much enjoyed working with you. I very
Okay.
much, felt like this was a great partnership. We would always love to have you come back if you decide in the future this is something that you're ready for at that time. Um, so those were the clients that I really enjoyed working with, right?
Yeah. 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 For sure.
We all have those clients that are challenging,
Mm-hmm.
that were like secretly when they put in that notice that they want to cancel, you're like, yes, finally.
Yeah. Well, and that even leads me to the thought. There are clients that you shouldn't work with. and
Correct.
that you need to let them go, right? But
Yes.
I'm even thinking about that same, like, 'cause I like how you use the word mutual respect,
Hmm.
and although there may be a way to part, or there may be a reason to part ways, I don't think there's ever a reason to be unkind.
Correct.
And sometimes that, and I've had people ask me for feedback about why we're not working together anymore, and
Hmm.
some of them take it a lot better than others, but I try in the spirit of actually helping them to tell them
Hmm.
why. And
Yeah.
and it is what it is. I think more people than not reject the why, which I
Hmm.
don't understand. I don't understand. It's like, okay, well, I'm telling you why, but you're looking for something else, and that's not it. But yes, but it does remind me. There are, I even think about my coaching, my inner circle for coaching. That is holy ground.
Hmm.
It is a protected place, and not just for me, but for the people that are entrusting me to have that be a safe, positive, uplifting experience. And so
Hmm.
even if I get a customer that I miss that on, like, that's going to require a hard conversation, because it's going to be like, for the sake of retention of the rest of my customers, I'm going to have to let them, I'm going to have to pass them
Yeah.
on to to different pasture.
And I think again, just having the mutual respect of like calling the elephant out in the room of like, hey, this isn't working.
Yeah.
This isn't working. I know you feel it. And I've had to do that. I've had to
Yes. Yes.
have that conversation with clients of like, I know you feel this isn't working. So, I feel like at this point, let's call it what it is, that this isn't the right setup for you, or this isn't the right
Yeah.
model for you.
Yeah.
And let me refer you to someone else, or let me refer you to a different service that might be. And I've done that. I've referred clients to different services that might have worked better for them.
That's good.
And I've actually had clients, previous clients come back and say, thank you. Like, this could have turned out really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was very frustrated, and I was very angry, and I was about to like just completely walk away and leave you guys a terrible review. But
Right.
the fact that you realized that this is not working and pointed me in a different direction made all the difference in the world.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your joy jams. Now, joy jam are the things in your life. It can be your work, it can be puppies, it can be coffee. Like, but I love, so part of this deal is I love entrepreneur, and that's part of my joy jam, is being an entrepreneur. But
Mhm.
like, just inspiring people with the things that inspire and make you smile, bring you joy. Would you share some of that with the audience? Just your joy jams.
Yeah, joy jams. Okay. Well, I do love a good cup of coffee. I'm not going to lie on that one. And
Same.
so, quick little story. My boyfriend made me French press one morning, and I was like, "Oh my
Oh,
gosh, this is really good." And I thought it was like this fancy, like I didn't watch how he made it, right? So I thought it was like some fancy way to make coffee. And so I was back at his place, and I said, will you make me French press coffee this morning? He goes, yeah. He goes, come here, I'll teach you how to do it. It's not
yeah.
hard. He showed me how to do it. And I was like, that's it? Like, wow. You just grind your beans and you put it in the press and you pour hot water on it and then you press it. That's it. To the point where I went and bought my own French press and
Ooh.
electric tea kettle to boil my water
So you
for
have
me.
water? Yeah. Oh
I've
yeah.
become very fancy with my coffee, and I have to have my French press coffee every morning. And if I don't get the French press coffee, then I'm like, do I even really want coffee? Because like Keurig coffee, I'm like, I think I'll just pass.
Not the same. We do pour overs a lot, which is it's a similar type of thing. You get the grounds. It's just there's a filter, instead, a different type of a filter, but it's the same, and it
Yeah.
is it is a different taste for sure, and it's
Oh,
better.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, so much better. Like, and you get all the like oils and and the actual nutrients that are in coffee when you do it that way versus the over processed coffee that comes for in the K cups and stuff like that. But that is definitely
Yeah.
one. Um, something
Okay,
else.
just 1 second. So normally, if it's not Sherry, there's no way they get in on a podcast. But Sherry's called
Ah,
me twice now.
gosh, yes, answer.
Hey, honey, I'm podcasting with Erica. Say hi.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You
Okay.
you called twice, so I just want to make sure it's not an emergency.
It is. It's a kitten emergency, but I can tell you later.
Okay, I'll call you right back after this. Love
Right.
you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Okay,
It's,
we
it's,
have we have. It sounds like it's a funny kitten emergency. So,
oh, kitten emergency.
it's a
Okay,
yeah
kitten.
kid. So,
Like, oh gosh.
I don't.
Dobby.
No, not a kid. Yeah, she said something about a kitten, but she was kind of laughing about it. So if it was a tragedy, like no, there would be no giggling and laughing. So it must be I'm hoping it's just a play on words, but real life, no matter what happens, is like nope, yep,
Right?
this is happening. But I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
That is okay. That is okay. Um, so other joy, what else brings me joy? Definitely my dog, who is sitting right next to me in his little bed.
what kind of dog?
He's a Choweenie. Do you want to see him?
Yes, we'd love to. For those of you that are on Spotify or Apple, I'm just going to tell you that this is just a little cute. It looks so you
Yeah,
said a chewy. So
a Choweenie.
it looks like Chihuahua, black and white, kind of Chihuahua-ish is what it's reminding me of. But you said it was so it's a mix between Chihuahua and
Chihuahua and Dotson.
oh,
Yeah.
cool dog. And what's the dog's name?
His name is Dobby. So I'm a massive Harry Potter fan for anybody that likes
Ah,
Harry Potter. And there's a little
okay.
house elf that has these funky little ears that stick out, which Dobby can do when he's not.
I love it. I love it. Oh man.
So
Puppies
he
are
brings
definitely
joy. Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
joy for sure.
Walk me up,
Aw.
Mom. So that is something else that brings me joy. Um, and then I love to like do yoga.
Okay,
I need to get back into doing yoga a lot on a lot more regular basis. I've kind of gotten out of it.
I
It definitely
understand.
brings me joy. And then I know you will reminisce with this, the beach. The beach is
Ooh
my fifth.
yeah.
That is that's my happy place. It brings me so
That's
much joy.
awesome.
And I'm very lucky to have a mom that lives at the beach.
Ooh yes, which is how we met.
Right.
Yes. Hilton has a special place.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Our kids have a lot of great memories on the beach at Hilton Head for sure.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that is great. So, how about pet peeve? Like I call that joy robber. Like, you have any joy robbers? Just like, oh man, if somebody does this, like it's really hard. I gotta breathe deep. Like, or just
Yeah.
things that happen in your life.
Um,
Like,
I
how do you do
mean,
with the Atlanta traffic?
I don't because I don't commute anymore. that,
There you
that used
go.
that used to be one of my pet peeves. Oh my gosh, yes. When I worked for the Children's Hospital, I
Mm-hmm.
commuted. Literally, it was 24 miles from my house to the parking deck at the hospital, and it would take me an hour and a half.
Man.
So yeah, no, that definitely traffic is definitely something I try to avoid at all possible. Just disrespect. Like
Ooh, yeah.
I feel like our the culture that has been growing in our country for a time now is just something that is just people are just disrespectful and just
Mm,
no respect and no regard for humanity and no regard for other people. And even when you open a door for somebody or hold the door for somebody and they don't say thank you, that drives me nuts. And
oh, yeah.
say out loud, "You're welcome," if they do not say thank you.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's fun.
Crazy. easy. It doesn't take much, right?
No,
Like
no,
manners, manners.
no. That's amazing. It's those are so every podcast I try to ask that. What are your joy jams? What are your joy robbers? And it's just fun to have people talk about the things that light them up, either light them on fire or make them smile.
Yes, yes.
No, that's really good. So do you have if somebody is thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, do you have
Mhm.
any advice that you might give a young person that's thinking about becoming an entrepreneur as and taking that step that you did? Like any lessons learned or anything that you want them to know about this journey?
Number one, it's not easy for sure. You know, I there's lots of ups and downs. It can feel lonely, but find your network.
Yeah.
Find a network that you feel lifts you up.
Mm-hmm.
Find a network that you feel seen in and who truly that's full of people who truly just want to help you.
That's
I
good.
have I have found a network like that, and it's been a game changer. Um,
Absolutely.
Definitely, you need a coach. Like
Yes.
when I first started this journey, I found a business coaching program, um, and I wouldn't have known where to go or what to do without it. Like you have to lean on people
Mm-hmm.
who have the knowledge.
Yes.
Find that mentor, find somebody that has walked this path, and listen and learn anything and everything you can from that person because you know a lot of stuff and you might be an expert in your area, but you don't know everything.
No
And
way.
it's impossible to know everything.
And
And
it's
there
right.
are people out there that can teach you. And then know when it's time to find somebody to help you,
Mm-hmm.
specifically for business. Like, I saw it all the time. The first virtual assistant staffing company I worked for worked with all types of entrepreneurs. It wasn't just one specific area. And that was the biggest hurdle for a lot of the entrepreneurs that I worked with as clients was figuring out how to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
possible. You can't do it all yourself,
No.
and
Nope.
you're going to drive yourself crazy and you're going to burn yourself out really, really fast if you don't find at least one person. I have an amazing assistant, and I really don't know what I would do without her. And I've been very fortunate that she knows that I'm bootstrapped, and she's been so wonderful to work with me, knowing that she's not going to get a regular paycheck until I get more clients coming in. But
Yes.
you have to. You can't. There's no way you can do it yourself. And I give this example. I spent 6 hours one day trying to learn Canva, and I realized this is not what I need to be focusing on. I
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
focus on finding clients. I can't sit here and try to do graphics. This is not my thing. I gave
No.
her a project. She knocked it out in an hour, whereas I spent 6 hours trying to learn the tool to even do the
Yes.
one little graphic that I was trying to make. So,
So it's so true. No, so true. Yeah. No, it is hard to be an entrepreneur. But it's also hard to work for somebody else the rest of your life and trade your time for money instead of developing a skill that will give you back your time. And
yeah.
so I love that you lead off with though that it's hard. Don't look to entrepreneurship for an easy road. It can be a
Mhm.
better road, but better doesn't always equal easy, and most of the time it doesn't equal easy. And
No.
don't shy away from that.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd just take 1 second. I want to address from an entrepreneurship and from just a life lesson thing. Like, don't ever work for someone or get involved in something where you can't take a call from your wife or
Mm.
somebody that you really love. Um, your you should be building a business or you should be working for someone that they would understand, like that's your primary, like that's why I work, right?
Mhm.
And I just want to encourage folks that if you're not in that kind of environment, start working to get in one, or
Yeah.
start building that environment, because this podcast is important, and I very much value your time, and I
Absolutely.
value the people that are going to listen to that. But I don't value any besides God. I don't value anybody over my wife. Right? And if she really needed me, it's like, okay, well, you know what? I can edit that, or you know what? I think I'm gonna leave it in, and let's tie a life lesson and talk to people about that as well. Because why would you want to be involved with something that you couldn't take a call when you needed to, and move on? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with that and encourage
Mm.
that. Um, Life is too short. And I know we haven't spoke about this on this particular podcast, but, and Billy, that I lost my husband to cancer a few
Yeah.
years ago. And
Yeah.
just to give a quick little snippet, 2 weeks after he passed away,
Mm.
the company that I was working for at the time, my boss called me and said, "No pressure, but when are you coming back?" And right then and there is when I
Mm.
made the decision, this is not the place for me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Wow.
You can't support me and give me more than 2 weeks after my husband passes away. I didn't say that to her at the
No.
time,
Yeah.
but I did end up leaving that company about 6 months later, and I
Hmm.
I did tell the HR person in the, exit interview of, like, "You need
Yeah.
to treat your people better than this."
Yes.
Like,
No, that's so good. Yeah, and I feel the heart and all that, but I love that you brought it up, because that allows me to just let our listeners know we're going to do another podcast together,
yeah.
because you have a signature talk, and you have a story of resilience and faith, and that I think you really can help someone that maybe is going to go through it, or just went through it, and I think it would be really helpful for them to hear the life lessons, and then just to have some encouragement for someone who definitely has walked through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be
Uh,
honored to do that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, if it's okay, I always close every podcast with a quick prayer, and I'd love to pray for you and your family if that's okay. All right, Lord, just thank you for Erica. Thank you for the opportunity for us to have a conversation, to share a little bit of our lives together, and to hopefully help someone with this conversation. And we just pray your anointing, your blessing on her and her family, and on this podcast. And we just pray it in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Erica.
Thank you, Billy. This has been so much fun, and I've greatly enjoyed our conversation today.